Hello everyone, my name's Loretta and I'm an alcoholic. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
No.
Bob?
Bob. She needs your help is what she said.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
Mother Mary? I'm going to do the best I can. Okay, I have been through this process with the God of my understanding that I found here, and a very patient, very patient sponsor who has done this work out of the book also. When I first walked in, I walked into Alcoholics Anonymous, and I didn't know anything about this program. It seems to me that as soon as I was able to admit that I had a problem, accept it and surrender.
It's not going to work today.
Oh, okay. Accept and surrender and let God unveil His plan, I've been blessed. Why me? I don't know. I just don't know sometimes why I was given this unmerited gift. I walked in not knowing a soul, and I met my first friend, Skip. And he told me just sit down and to listen. It's the ironies for me, the spiritual experiences. When I look back, I laugh. I was about a couple weeks sober, and I was sitting outside Notre Dame, and there was a sign there, and this lady walked by, and she said, "There's no smoking on the church property." But I heard, "There's no smoking on the church property." And I thought, oh my God, Attila's a Hun. Aren't they supposed to be nice to me? Doesn't she know I'm new? So I would see this woman come in every day, and I would run from her. And I had gone to my first Thursday women's meeting upstairs on the stage. And I left, not knowing that I forgot my book there, because I'd have called the parish priest and demanded it at midnight, maybe even gone there. The next day was a Friday co-ed step meeting, and I've never been upstairs for a co-ed step meeting. And all of a sudden, I was sitting in my seat at Notre Dame. This woman starts walking towards me, and I'm like, holy shit, where am I going to go? She's coming to me. I used to run when I saw her with her bag, dun, 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 and she used to come in. And she comes up to me and says, why don't you join me today? I didn't know what to say. So I go upstairs, and she puts her hand behind me, and I sit near her, and I open the step book, and it was mine. I thought I was going to have a meltdown. I thought, this she's a witch. She's got to be. I mean, I was like mortified. And she sat there, smiled. So the next day, using, and there were many summers gone by, and I said I've never gone to the beach. Well, ironically, that Saturday I was leaving. I didn't want to miss a meeting, because I was in a sober house. So I somehow found this meeting. It was, and there she was again. And she was over there, and she said, I've been watching you lately, and I kind of shy away from newcomers, and here's my card, and I expect you to call me. Is she for real? I thought. So the next day I went to church, and I mustered up all the courage I could have to go in at my sober house, and I called her, and I asked her to be my sponsor. And outside of God, me finding God here, Skip and her probably were the two most influential people in me helping me get sober. Because it still marvels me to this day, and she's still my sponsor, that God puts a stranger in your life who commits to taking you by the hand and taking you through this difficult period of your life. My first year, I just cried the whole 365 days, and all I remember saying was, I don't understand. And she assured me the understanding would come. Now, I was unable because, you know, I came in as the alcoholic and addict and hysterical Italian, so I had 3 strikes against me. I cried so much I couldn't see and I was not ready. I didn't even read People's Magazine because I was afraid to open this book, so I didn't want to be disrespectful. And she just died when I told her. So now she says it's time. It's time? You need to read the doctor's opinion. Oh, I had no idea. I get overwhelmed. They're telling me I have an allergy, a spiritual malady. What else do I have? You know? So she sits down and we begin. And I wanted to get this so bad that I underlined it, I highlighted it, I put it on cue cards. You know, and here I am thinking I'm going to Salve Regina for the day. I wanted to get this so bad. And she sat down and explained to me, you know, in this, and it basically tells me here that I can stay doomed and alcoholic or follow the spiritual tools, the guidelines, the directions that are in this book. Then she asked me, are you willing to go to any lengths to get it? Yeah, sure. Yes, but I was, and I had the gift of desperation. So I began reading this book with her. And I was starting to understand. You know, as a newcomer, my favorite step was step 2. Mm-hmm. You know, when I came and then I came to believe because of you people, the old timers, and you told me to get on my knees and ask God to keep me away from a drink or a drug. That's why I really don't, no offense, believed you very much, but I did it. Because Notre Dame and those women, they kept giving me hope, you know. Betty used to say, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, stop crying. Just keep coming. And, you know, Jackie and Sheila and all those old timers. So step 2 blew my mind because I was getting on my knees, and at this point I had a little job back in my field. I had gotten a little car and a savings account and a checking account, which I was, you know, a little leery because it could be my trigger. Mm-hmm. You know, I used money, I'd call Domino's Deliver and they'd be down in 5 minutes. My crack dealer. So I was in the Greendale Mall by myself, and I was walking around and I realized, I've got this job, I've got money, I don't want to use, I don't want to get high, I don't want to drink. And it was there I had to stop in front of hundreds of people, and I had to say thank you, because this obsession was lifted. I had a little trouble with the 3rd step, you know, I had no understanding. But I just had to do it, you know, my sponsor, you just got to do it and try, you know, to be willing to constant vigilance, you know. I didn't get the whole 3rd step, maybe not till after, even the 4th and 5th. But all it asked as a newcomer for me was just God's will to stop drinking, don't drink or use, and just do the next right thing. Which was don't lie, cheat, or steal, because that was my way of life. That was my way of life. So I did my 4th and 5th, and I identified my character defects, and my sponsor, God bless her, stamped them in the 5th. And then 6 and 7, I really was willing, because I wanted to change. I know for me, when I'm full of fear, they go off. But I also learned that when I'm disturbed with others, there's something going on with me, and I'm full of fear. It's been a tough road these past 3 years, watching my mom. And my fears are getting less because you people tell me I'm going to be okay. Past 2 weeks was terrible. I fight every single day there. And I thought I was having a meltdown Friday, but I had to go home and just sit and breathe in faith and breathe out fear like you people told me. Read some spiritual books, because my first thought, I didn't want to go to Framingham, and I didn't want to go to the police station because I know you can't get bailed out on the weekends. because I wanted to put my hands on my mother's nurse manager. So I did 8 and 9, and now, another thing, it says we have a spiritual malady. Well, what does that mean? I wanted to feel spiritual right away, because I didn't know what that meant. I wanted to feel it. So the first book I read was Came to Believe, which was a wonderful book, and I'd go upstairs in the sober house, and I'd hold my breath, and I'd wait for the lights to go off. I'd wait for the windows to, I was waiting for something. I didn't know what I was waiting for. I wanted to feel this. But it wasn't about feeling. It was doing this work because it generally told me that the malady is because I'm so selfish, self-centered to the max. That was the root of my problem. So I started getting a little spiritual recovery from 4 till 9 or 4 to 10, whatever people say. I made my amends and I was willing. And then now comes my favorite step. Step 10. What a relief step 10 was for me. Because it tells me I only have to take my personal inventory. No longer do I have to take yours. Because A, it's none of my business. Imagine that. And what a relief. Take my personal inventory. And when I'm wrong, I promptly admit it. In the morning, when I opened my eyes and I heard it at a meeting, because I'm so fearful, I go right to the fear prayer before I get on my knees. And I ask God to remove my fear just for today. And direct my attention to what He'd have me be. Show me the way to patience, tolerance, kindness, and love. And then I just try to get up and do the next right thing. Love and tolerance is our code. Patience. Okay? And I try, I try to do my best. And it says, continue to watch for selfish, self-seeking, resentments, and on that. And when it happens, the good news is, for me, I was taught to pause. Pause. I have to sit down sometimes and breathe in faith, breathe out fear. Because here it says about the pause, it says, I was talking about this last night. As we go through the day, we pause when we get agitated, because God is in this pause for me. He's in this pause. He disciplines me when I need. Sometimes my sponsor will say, ask God to put one arm over your shoulder and the other over your mouth, It talks about, so I do this spiritual work and I say, well, how am I going to stay sober every day? 10, 11, and 12. When I started going to her about 10 and 11, I was I confused 10 and 11 all the time. I used to call her every week. Can I come by the office and do 10 and 11 again? The next week, can I come by the office and do 10 and 11 again? The 4th week, she said, just do it. Just do it. So now I understand the difference. So 10 gives me my inventory every day, and I can stop my day wherever I want. Or more importantly, I can stop my day, because now I know in my mind it's wrong, but worse, I get it in my stomach, because I have a conscience today. So if I want to be a wise guy, and if I want to offend you, or I want to do something, I get it here. And I have the willingness to stop and make that amend. Gee, sarcasm, one of my greatest assets, I thought. And my brother's shaking his head. But I try, because in the 12 and 12 it helps me explain about restraint of pen and tongue. Because the only person who suffers all this emotional upheave after is me. Everybody else is going to go on their day, let the world endure his will, and I'm going to be sit like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done that, so I can make an amends right away. It says, so for me to stay sober, I got to do 10, 11, and 12 on a daily basis because this 10th step tells me I'm only sober today through God's grace and contingent on my spiritual well-being. Because if I'm off, I can be off, you know. If I'm full of self-pity, poor me, because I can go there. Poor me, I'm going to be poor me a drink or pour me a puff from the pipe. And I don't want to go there. You know, it was just, I never, ever in a million years thought this God would do for me what I couldn't do for myself. I never thought I was going to get it. You know, I am a loyal member of AA, and I do know the difference. I hear the difference or whatever, but I try to pass my strength and experience. For me, that's a part of my heart, you know. I don't get too much into it. Some people still fear this type of structure. I needed it, and I've learned so much. The turnarounds, how to turn around my resentments, and I'm still not proud. Let me tell you something. I don't know everything, because the day I think I'm more recovered than, more knowledgeable than you, that's the day I need to get on my knees and get real goddamn humble, because this can take me out in a minute. This can take me out. Although I've had that spiritual awakening they promised me, that I don't fear alcohol anymore, I have a healthy respect for it, because I see how insidious it is and how it's taken my friends out in the funerals I've had to go to. You know, I have family members that are struggling. I have a nephew who's in prison because of this, and I have another cousin we just found out who's struggling bad. You know, when it affects family, you want them to get sober in 10 minutes. But we know they're going to fall and hit before it happens. And all we can do is be there. And as I told my 88-year-old aunt on the phone yesterday, all you can do is pray right now. Nothing you can do, you know. So I learned to pause now today, because one thing I did remember, one thing I learned is I don't need to be right today. I need to be happy, because then I can stay emotionally balanced. Because to someone like me, emotional balance is a must for me. It's really a must. I need to be as calm as I can, because every day I fear a call, or I know what's coming on. I know it's coming down. But my fear's not as great anymore, you know? It's unfortunate that it's 2 weeks. I thought I was having a nervous breakdown yesterday, because I got into such an argument with the nurse manager, because it's my mother, you know? And I don't want her sitting in feces. Let your mother do what I wanted to say, but, you know, I can't. It's a tough road, you know, but I know that God's with me, you know, and I know the bottom line is everything's going to be okay as long as I maintain 10, 11, and 12, because I don't want to drink, I don't want to use. I remember when my mother first went in, I was alone one night. I had a old timer I met when I first came in. She gave me her number. Oh, Madon, I must have called her every single day. And we talk at 7 o'clock at night. And I remember it was about 5 o'clock, and I was just over it. You know, the shame and the guilt, the Italians, you don't put your mother away, you know. And I just said, you know what, I can't handle this. So I was grabbing my garbage, because there's a package store down the street, and I was just going to buy, and the phone rang, and it was her, and I said, why are you calling me at 5 o'clock? Oh, she said, excuse me, what's the difference? I said, because you usually call me at 7. She said, what's your problem? I said, I can't take it, I'm going to drink. And she said, oh no, hell no, you're not. She said, I ain't trying to get you sober again. You know, so I know today I need to stay spiritually fit. I know God is with me, you know, and when I get jammed, as it says it right here, I can stop and ask God for an inspiration or intuitive thought or decision. And then it says, relax, take it easy. don't struggle. Because 9 times out of 10 when I do, the answer comes. And it all works out. You know, there are countless hours that even the book talks about, we spend worrying for nothing, you know. I'm in God's hands. I allude to the St. Francis prayer for what I think for me is God's will, and I try to do that every day, you know. So now this is my favorite step as I continue down this path, step 10, because it allows me to, and I don't do it on my knees. I thank God on my knees, but I'm old, so I get in bed and then I review my day. And it says it here, if we find ourselves, if all these come up, we need to talk about it immediately with someone like probably my sponsor, if my sponsor's not around, a network, because I got to get this out. I can't hold it, I can't resent it, and I need to make an amend, because I always feel better when my side of the street is clean, you know. And I'm willing today to admit my faults, and I'm willing for you people to give me corrective criticism. Wow, because before I just said, excuse me? Huh. But I need this. I need your input, because I can't do this alone. So with that, I'm grateful to be here, and thank you for asking me to speak.